Coming at you live, my friends, from a very small island in the Caribbean and a narrow boat on a canal in the middle of nowhere in England. It's Deb D and Sarah Kent for a special episode of the Be Her podcast, which is all about you and your dreams. This is going to be juicy, my friends. Let's go into dream time with Sarah and her amazing story. Hello, Sarah. Thank you for being here with us on the Be Her podcast.
Hi, Deborah. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes, I'm so tickled pink that we're having this conversation. And I'm just going to set it up in this way for the amazing women worldwide who are listening. This is the episode that leads into the next episode. So before this podcast recording, Sarah invited me into her project, which is what you're all going to hear about. And so this episode is part 1 to a part 2. And I'm just going to leave that little carrot dangling right there because it's all going to make sense once we get into the episode. But I'm just going to invite now a story that I plan, not a story. I'm going to invite now a question that I plan to ask every guest. Sarah is my second guest ever on the Be Her podcast. And so this is the first time this question's coming out there, but it's going to be a question that I invite every guest. But I also want to invite every time you're listening to an episode, whether it's with me or a guest, this is a great question to ask yourself because there are no right or wrong answers. So Sarah, as you know, because you know me, the Be Her Collective is on a mission to inspire and engage 1 million intuitive heroines worldwide. And to me, an intuitive heroine is a woman who's reclaimed her intuitive wisdom, remembers who the fuck she is, and has returned to heroine status in her story, life, and leadership. But that's the Deb D version. And I'm also aware that we all have these different relationships with the intuitive heroine. I believe we're all intuitive heroines. Some women believe they're her. Some women are still making their way back or remembering. So for you, Sarah, where are you with your intuitive heroine?
Sometimes I think I've got this. Sometimes I think, what the hell is happening? So I've said a big yes, a big, oh my God, scary yes to my dreams. I know I'm moving in the right direction. But I don't know what's going to happen down the line. And that's life. And I'm trying to embrace all of that. So it's like I'm a work in progress, a hopeful work in progress.
Yes. And I love that because I think that's true for so many of us. It's like there's some days where you're like, I've got this, I am on the pulse. And then other days you're like, what the fuck's actually happening? That's like such a
Yeah.
true representation of and it's also somebody who's actually really living their life,
Oh my God, yeah.
to work through this ebb and flow, So yes, and I ask that question for everyone. Ask yourself now, for those listening to Sarah and I, ask yourself now, where are you at with your intuitive heroine? Because I want to make this really clear. The Be Her podcast or anything inside the Be Her collective is not like a race or a hierarchy or like a test that you have to pass. We are all making our way towards intuitive heroine and like actually living it, feeling it, breathing it in a way that feels good for you. So you may pick up parts of my definition, something you hear from Sarah, something you hear from another guest, but the invitation is to actually understand your intuitive heroine and how close are you to her? Are you still remembering? Are you returning? And wherever you are, that's exactly where you're meant to be at this beat in your life. Because we are all doing the damn thing and we're doing the best that we can in amongst this changing world. So now let's get into story time with Sarah. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a frame and then I'm going to really hand the mic to you, Sarah. Sarah and I connected recently in the Wonder World playground of Substack because on Substack, Sarah has a project called the DreamWorks Project, and I was invited into that project. But we're going to start the story, Sarah, before the project and at the point of change. So feel free to share any part of the backstory that's relevant and the point of like what changed that led you to the DreamWorks Project.
Thank you. And I guess, I mean, from the outside, I think most of us look quite ordinary from the outside, but all of us have got incredible backstories, even if we don't appreciate that about our own lives, which is always a big invitation to actually share your stories. But my story is I started off in astrophysics. So I literally have a degree in rocket science, never got to Mars. I was born about 40 years too soon for that, sadly. But I worked out that I love travel. And it was from travel that I went into meteorology. So I was a weather forecaster for decades, traveling around the planet, forecasting the weather in some really remote spots. But alongside that, I was doing work which I really loved, which was healing. How do humans heal? How do we
Mm,
return back to ourselves? Coaching, of course. How can I support people in that journey? Um, I won't give you the whole list, but 4 years ago was the crunch time. You said, what was it that changed? Well, 4 years ago, 2022, so we'd just come out of COVID. I think all of us were kind of shaking ourselves off like a dog does after it's just been thrown in a river and it climbs out and like this. And I just realized my life wasn't working. I'd had this niggle for a long, long time because I was doing all the things I should be doing to be happy. I had, from the outside, a really successful career, safe career in science. I had a gorgeous house in the countryside. I got a beautiful fluffy cat as a companion. Um, and if I knew if I carried on working 50 to 60 hours as someone else, I was going to end up in a coffin probably in a decade time. It was literally slowly killing me. I was on the brink of burnout again. My whole body, my system was saying, you've got to stop doing 50 to 60-hour shift working weeks. Just, I was so far away from what my being longed to do and longed to bring into the world that every piece of me was screaming, you've got to stop, hence being on the brink of burnout. Um, And I think I read one of the books, I think it's the top 10 regrets of the dying. May not be called that, but no one on their deathbed ever says, damn, I wish I'd spent more time in the office. And thoughts like that were going around my head. And I just thought, what am I here for? I'm not, I could make a big difference and save lives through weather forecasting. You can do that. Um, but that wasn't what I am specifically here for. And I also wasn't quite sure what that was like. It's a really big question. It's like, what are you here to create with your life?
yes.
So I knew that I needed to have a life that nourished me because that's a great foundation. And so I spent some months journaling on this, what would nourish me. And it's always been living as close to nature as I can, minimizing the footprint that I leave on my planet, our planet, as much as I can, and helping other women to make a positive difference in and with their lives, whatever that looks like for them. Um, and that was when I realized that 50 to 60-hour weeks and what a nourishing life looked like were very, very different. And it was a case of like, I'm in my early 50s, if not now, when?
Yeah.
It's like, it was that, if not now, when? And I guess I just thought, what the heck? At some point, I thought, what the heck? And once I decided I'm going to give this nourishing life thing a go, I'm just going to follow that direction and trust the flow of life and just see what happens.
Mm.
Things started happening very, very quickly. I
And that's
resigned
what
from my
happened.
job.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what happens, doesn't it? I just want to pause for a second, and I just want to reach out to the women who are listening who are maybe still working 50 or 60 hours a week,
Mm,
or who are hearing that voice that's saying, this is not working anymore. Whatever it might be, but I know that there's so many women across the world that are hearing themselves in this chapter of your story, Sarah.
mm,
It's not, unfortunately, it's not a story that is rare for women to get to a point where we've built successful careers, families, lives, like whatever it is that we were doing through our 20s, our 30s, our 40s, and then getting to 50s. Some people do it earlier than 50s and realizing, hold on a minute, this is not the
mm,
destination moving forward.
yeah.
So if that is you, you want to keep listening. What happens next? And if that's
Well,
you, know that we see you, we feel you, we have been her.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, Sarah, what happens next?
It was that decision and committing. Because when you decide, you are committing. Decide, the word itself means to cut. You're cutting off something. You're
Mm,
saying no to something else. So I was saying a no to something which really didn't serve me. So I resigned and put my house on the market, and I had an offer in 5 days, and like about 10 weeks later, I was out. And I had nowhere else to go, so I was homeless, technically. Sofa surfed with my mum, which is not something you see yourself doing when you're in your 50s, but hey, I did. Um, and I discovered that I could actually live off grid in the UK and travel. I love travel. We don't do tiny homes in the UK, but we do boats. So I am now living on an off grid narrow boat in a canal, on a canal in the middle of nowhere in the UK. So I never got to Mars, never got my own spaceship. But so you think you let go of dreams in your life, but they keep coming back. So I'm living on my own boat. No, it's not a spaceship, but a
yeah,
boat in my
yeah.
self-contained capsule. Yeah.
I love that. I just want that framing also of maybe the dream doesn't look or feel exactly like you thought it was going to
Mm,
be, but the essence of it or what you were seeking within that, you can still find. And you
yeah.
can find it in unexpected chapters. So this
Yeah.
part is also like speaking to our audience who are like, I'm leaving that job, or I'm leaving this marriage, or I'm leaving this town. I don't want to live in the big city anymore. Like there's points in a lot of our stories where we make this big courageous jump like you've taken, Sarah, and that's 4
Yeah.
years ago now.
It is. It is. So a lot of things have, I have a lot of things changed. So it feels as though a lot of things changed, and it also feels as though everything has changed in the right way, because I have come into, I mean, alignment sounds a bit cliche, but I know I'm doing the right thing for me. And I also
Mm,
know that in doing that, I can bring my work out into the world. And it was through the coaching work that I now do that the DreamWorks project actually emerged and surprised me with the wave of energy. You talk about tuning in and being aware of the intuitive nudges or kicks sometimes that life gives you. When the idea for this project arrived, it had such a wave of energy with it. I couldn't say no.
mm, mm. Can you describe that? I would love to hear like a sentence or two of like when the DreamWorks project came through and it had this rush of energy.
Mm.
How did you feel that? How did you know that?
I always liken it to a surfer catching a wave. These
Mm,
ideas, these amazing ideas, are often, I think, moving around waiting to find someone who'll say yes to them. So for me, it was a big sense of rising, positive energy that was going to carry me. I mean, who knows where? I don't know. But it was something that was going to nourish me and nourish everyone who it touched. And with that knowledge and that knowing, this real uplifting of energy, I couldn't say no to it because it was within my gift to do. So
Mm,
it didn't seem
mm,
right. It was almost as
mm.
if life is offering you a gift. It's like, this is a surprise. It's good for you.
Yeah.
You don't know what it is. So it was that level of trust as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and when life gives you a gift, you unwrap it. Like,
Well, I did.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know if anyone else has picked it up, but there's the nourishment again that you spoke about, Sarah, in that
Mm,
journaling of like, what's going on? Things have got to change. And it was like, I want a nourishing life. What's going to nourish me?
mm,
And then this dream work project, it's not only nourishing you, it's nourishing others. So take us now into the project because I'm assuming a lot of people listening, a lot of women listening right now, they're like, okay, so tell us what it is. What's the
yeah.
project?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm not talking about dreams that you have at night. I'm talking about what you long, what your heart longs for. What do you long to bring into the world with your life? If you could, I mean, that's why it's a dream, but what would you create
Mm,
if you could choose? What would you bring? What difference would you like your life to make in the world? That's the nature of the dreams in the DreamWorks project. So it merged through my coaching work because the women I was working with were still sharing one of their dreams in the coaching sessions. And it made me realize that apart from my mum, no one had asked me about my dreams. I mean, we get career planning at college and things like that, but no, it's a very different question
yeah.
because dreams are about a way of being in the world. It's not just doing. Our dreams invite all of ourselves to get involved. So I thought I'm just going to start asking women about their dreams. It was as simple as that. I would invite women from all around the world, from any background, as long as you can speak to me on Zoom, to share one of their dreams.
Mm,
And well, I mean, we're into year 3 now of the project. So almost 400 women have since taken part. And something magical can happen when you let yourself give voice to something that really matters to you. If you've got the courage to really touch what your heart longs to bring into the world,
mm,
your very words become incantations. They awaken an
mm,
energy inside you. It's
mm.
almost like they awaken or catalyze the life you were born to live. That's what happens if you can. It doesn't always happen in 20 minutes, but it does often happen in a 20-minute interview. Um, and it makes women realize that this is possible, even if you don't know how.
Mm.
It's possible, and that's the
Yeah,
key. Because when
yeah,
you know it's possible, that's when you think, well, I'm. It's a journey of 1,000 miles. You only need to know that first step, and it may only be a journey of 50 steps, 50 miles. You don't know until you've taken that first step. And
yeah,
if
and the dream itself is gonna take you once you
mm,
start to step into it. You know,
yeah,
the like, dreams are co-created. But there's such power in, firstly, asking women,
mm,
"What's your dream?" And I think we have more than one, but I know that in the DreamWorks project, you ask people to share one dream. And I love that it's about not, "What's my dream career?" Or, what's it's none of that. It's actually like, "What's on your heart?" Or, "What's the impact that you wanna make?" Or, "What kind of life
mm,
uh, and world do you wanna live in?" Like, it's
mm,
such a beautiful invitation, and it's an invitation that is so needed because as women, we're doing a lot, and we're thinking about what we're creating and how we're making the money and what's happening with our career and our impact and footprint on the world, et cetera, and we need more space to be dreaming and to
mm,
be listening to ourselves and other women's dreams. It's just so beautiful.
mm.
Congratulations, almost 400 women. Hello? That's like an energy in itself. of women stepping forward.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
The the world, let's face it, is a mess right now, and it's a mess that humanity has ultimately created. And something I've noticed through interviewing these hundreds of women about their dreams is that every single dream invokes that woman's unique gifts. It
Mm,
enables her to express what, I mean, I might say is the best of herself, but who she really is. It invokes her medicine, if you like. I love using that word,
oh,
into the world.
yes. Oh, everyone just take a breath with me there. When women speak their dreams, it invokes their medicine.
Mm,
Oh, write that down, everybody. That is magical, Sarah.
mm.
What does it
And
mean for women to be able to bring their unique gifts and their medicine out through voice and story and expression? What have you seen in the project that's changed you or changed the women, or what you see now that you can see almost 400 dreams, that you've bared witness to the expression of almost 400 dreams? What is this medicine?
well, everyone, every woman, of course, is different. That's the thing, but we form an incredible constellation together. That's the thing. Every
Mm,
single dream, we all shine as brightly as stars. And together we form this incredible constellation, which encircles the planet. Because when I look at the world of today, it's crying out for the medicine of women. And if through getting in touch with our dreams and maybe taking, so giving, to answer your question, when someone gives voice to their dream, perhaps for the first time to me, 'cause it's a safe space, it's anonymous, so you can go wherever you want with your dream. But
yeah.
when they shared it with me, they've kind of made it real. It becomes more tangible for them. And
Uh,
they want to know the next step. And even if
yeah.
that's that sharing with someone else, because the magic that happens is that other women who hear what someone else longs for, we often dream we have very similar longings.
Yes.
One of the collective patterns that I've seen is that we hope for a more peaceful world. Women long to collaborate. We bring a profound respect to our interactions with others and the larger than human world. Um, all of these things, having a community, to feel that we belong, that we don't have to fit in, that we have a world where everyone belongs ultimately, but particularly for women. I'm not going to go down
Mm,
the situations that women face globally, but to to create a world where everyone belongs as they are, where you're not having to fit into someone else's box.
mm,
That gives me hope for a future, a better future. And if enough of us say yes to our dreams, perhaps that is one of the ways this better future that so many of us long for can actually start to come into being, because it is possible. You know, we see so much naysaying and doom. That is a possible future, but it's not the only one. And for us to start walking the road to a different, better future, I think one of the ways is to pay attention to our longings and have the
yeah.
courage to come together, because none of us dream alone. It's just the thing, but to come together, to inspire each other and to start walking that walk.
Yes. And when you invite women to share their dream, then they're picking up the magic wand, because this is what I believe, and I've seen this again and again. And this is not just Deb in the magic realm. This is something that many, many people have seen, and it's a part of their work. Our words are our wand. Like, it's how we direct our energy.
Mm,
And so this is, it's a part of like saying an affirmation, like that's using, your words as your magical wand to
mm,
create. But when we're invited to for use our wand and our words in just full expression of our dream and our desires for ourself and the world, that is literally magic making
Mm,
in my world. And from what
mm,
you're telling me with this medicine that's coming out through the project, I think it is magic weaving.
mm.
So amazing and beautiful. So, of course, women listening may be wondering, well, how do I share my dream? Let me tell you, it is such a delicious project and experience to share your dream. So that this is how I met Sarah. We connected on Substack and I connected to the project and I was invited to share my dream and I did, and it's so wonderful. Because, and I'll tell you what I remember about it, Sarah. This is a few weeks ago for us now. What I remember about it is I wasn't Deborah, founder of the Be Her Collective. I wasn't Deborah, married to Smokey who lives in Tobago. I wasn't Deborah, the middle child of 7 in the Driscoll family. Like any of those ways that we see ourselves, it was just me. It was just me, and there was no guardrails or no, I have to fit the dream into this box for this reason. It was just this open field where I could just express my dream in whatever I wanted to say that day about my
Mm.
dream, that day. And you held the space so beautifully for me just to be able to speak freely and to share my dream. And so it's highly recommended, my friends, to share your dream out loud. It is the medicine that the world needs right now. It is
Mm.
you making your words into your wand. And so, Sarah, if there is a woman listening who's interested in the project, either to be inside the dreams of other women or maybe share their own dream, where are they going to find that?
Well, I do want to mention that it's not just about sharing your dreams. Your words are your wand, but you can actually read the dreams from the
Mhm.
project. So you can find me on Substack, and there are over 100 dreams there published. So if you want to be inspired or you're curious, um, that's where you'll find the dreams. But if you'd like to ultimately learn more about my coaching work or the DreamWorks projects, everything is there for you on my website. And if you want to go deeper, you can book a conversation with me again through the website, and that is sarahlkent.com.
Mm. And you know I'm doing it in the show notes, my friends. It's going to be link in the show notes to the Substack, to the stories, to Sarah's website. It's going to be all there easy for you to click the links. And I invite curiosity here. Like, have a look at the website and see what kind of work that Sarah does. Like, I can already tell you, one of my most amazing magical maths is when a scientist does healing work. I just think it's amazing because there's so much science in healing and so much healing in science, and they're not two separate worlds. I don't know if you found this in your world, Sarah, but I love when either a healer gets into science or a scientist starts doing some healing work, which is your experience. I believe that makes truly dynamic work and medicine
Mm,
amazing, amazing. And everybody, next week on the Be Her podcast, the episode is me sharing my dream. Because one of the things Sarah does, which I believe is so generous and generative, is you get the audio version of your dream. So after you've shared it with Sarah, you get the recording and you could do whatever you want with that. To be noted, the dreams that are shared on Substack, it's anonymous. And there's a reason for that because it's like for some women, it's safety. It's also about there's no hierarchy about dreams. So also, if you share your dream, you don't ever have to listen to the recording. You don't ever have to do anything with it. But that's not how I play. As soon as I listen to mine, I was like, oh, I'm sharing this. I am sharing this because this is what I want to unfiltered tell women about me. and why I do the work I do and why I'm here at this moment in my life and why intuitive heroines are so important to me, because you are so important to me. Anyway, I just gave out some major clues about what my dream's about, but you could all put a sure bet on it right now. So we're going to make sure that that's all linked for you next week in the Be Her podcast. It is Sarah interviewing me about my dream for the DreamWorks project. So you're going to want to click on that episode. But we're now going to move towards the closing of this wonderful, beautiful. This whole episode is medicine, Sarah. This is what I'm feeling. This whole episode is medicine. Thank you so much for being here, for sharing the DreamWorks project. I want to say to everybody, please find a way to connect to Sarah, because there's so much that has not been shared in this episode about how amazing she is, the work that she has done, the work that she is doing, and so much more. Again, follow curiosity, connect, either read on Substack or book a call, invite that spark that you have right now, invite it to connection, because this is how we actually begin to collaborate and change the world. Because I've loved my budding new friendship relationship, magical playmate relationship with Sarah. So I can highly recommend it. It's super fun. But we're going to now complete with the question that I'm going to invite all guests to share. So the Be Her Collective, we are on a mission to inspire and engage intuitive heroines worldwide. And when we reach 1 million intuitive heroines, Sarah, what do you think that's going to mean for women, for the world? What do you think is going to shift or change? Mm, that is so beautiful. I am going to be playing with that image for days, I believe. Never seen the intuitive heroines as the goo that becomes a butterfly, but I will forever see it in that way, and in all of the ways that we as women are saying yes to our dreams, in the ways that we are turning up for ourselves, even when it's really tricky, even when we're close to burnout, even when the world is telling us to be something different. We're turning up for ourselves, even if that is just in one breath you are taking today. Believe in your dreams. Believe that you are the intuitive heroine, and believe in the hope that we are changing the world, because wonderful women we are. Thank you for being with Sarah and I for this episode of the Be Her podcast. We love you. Let's do this thing, one intuitive heroine at a time. We are changing the world, dream by dream.